da 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 da.
Post-Relevance disorder.
Hello? Is it working?
This is Post-Relevance disorder. I'm getting really good at getting the title right now. Not pop culture disorder.
Are you trying to make
pop
references?
Culture reference.
Yeah,
References
nice.
to pop culture.
He did it, ladies and gentlemen.
Things like that. I reference something known as pop culture.
We're gonna try live streaming soon to our 0 followers.
We're going to
1 follower.
Well, mainly is we're going to attempt to create something where we don't edit it whatsoever. That way, it actually stands a chance of getting published.
Well, the problem is that I've got no free time. Well,
Yeah.
very little free time because I'm still in college. I have my finals next week, so once that's done, then I'll have a lot more time for editing. Now, Hayden here has plenty of time, but he never does any editing.
Yeah. Well, what you should do
What
is
I
you
should
should
do?
send me these audio files.
You've seen my upload speed.
Yes. My download speed's not very good either.
There appears to be an issue
there's
here.
the problem right there. But
Wi-Fi
maybe we
connections.
should bring. Maybe I should bring a flash drive.
Why are we putting this on the podcast?
Because it's a podcast. We just talk.
All right.
Yes.
It's housekeeping.
So,
is what
someone's
it
trying to get my attention. So okay, I'm Hayden. That's Nick. And this is Sam. He's
Hello.
actually been with us before.
Hello, I'm Sam.
It is possible that the other podcast featuring him will go on the site, the channel, but we are not.
is. For the purposes of
completely
historic
sure.
documentation.
What?
For the purposes of historic documentation.
Yes.
So
His
just to recap,
presence-
should we do a recap again?
To recap,
Well, we're not going to do it
Sam,
now that
Hayden,
you brought it
Nick.
up. Yes.
Okay.
Okay. So that's
Fine.
Nick, Sam.
fine.
I'm Hayden, and that's Sam and Nick over there.
Hello.
Okay.
Just
We're
to
gonna do
recap,
story
Sam,
cubes.
Nick, Hayden.
We're gonna do story cubes now.
Just jump
So
straight
should
into
we
this.
should probably describe how these.
We already
work.
described it.
Oh,
in a
you guys
different
already
session
described it. Okay.
that
have.
hopefully will be posted.
Prior to this one,
Well,
Yes.
we
should
should
we have
leave,
a recap of
we
how to
should
play the
leave
story
like a
cubes?
link to to Amazon or something. It's like hashtag not sponsored. But you check this out. There are the instructions there in case you missed our very instructional video. But yes, we have a little contraption that Nick
Has
has
been
made.
mentioned before.
Yes.
It's a dice tower.
But will it
It's
be
pretty
published?
simple.
That is the question.
Yes.
The
it
hammer
will.
keeps falling off its perch, by the way.
Really?
Yes.
Why? You keep bumping it and not putting
Probably.
it back on, right?
No, I put it back on right. I just keep bumping it. Anyway, who would like to start our epic story?
I think Sam should. He's the guest. He
Sam.
should do
Okay.
that.
Luckily,
well then.
Sam has experience with story cubes, so we
Yes,
don't have
indeed.
to explain or anything like that. So
Yeah,
we'll
well-
do the 3 at a time.
Well, what about for the audience? Should we?
We'll
Okay,
leave
basically, there's
we're
a bunch
leaving
of
a
dice.
link
There's
to
a-
Amazon. We have described it in a previous video that may or may not have been uploaded before
Well,
this one.
To simply put, story cubes, they're cubes with pictures on them, and then you roll them, and then based on what pictures you get, you make a story.
Well, if it's that quick, I don't know why I even bothered saying. No, you can look up software. That didn't take very long, so
Yeah.
Okay, so
Well,
I just randomly pick 3 then, or
Yeah.
or
Yes.
okay.
The rules we use is we have a cohesive
now you have to
story.
roll
for-
to choose which dice you're going to roll.
Okay.
We-
There's a pile of dice. Okay, I'm just gonna throw them in this
We have
tower.
like 27 dice, and we're doing 3 at a time.
So when I roll them, do I roll all 3 or just roll all?
Just roll
one?
3.
Roll 3.
Okay.
It's the same thing we've done before, Sam.
Well, there's some that we did 1 at a time, and then.
Well, what we've
add
done
to
for
the
the most
story.
part. 3 at a time is usually the best way to go.
Okay, so I got three cubes out here. Okay. Once upon a night. Okay, I should describe what the cubes say. So
No, we don't usually bother.
Oh, you don't.
But if you
Okay.
want to do it for
We
like the
bother
first
for
turn,
the first couple turns.
First turn.
And then we stop.
or if you run across something particularly interesting,
Okay, well,
maybe we
they're-
should do video.
Well,
Yeah.
for
Actually,
the,
even
for the
video,
live
just
video
to look
feed.
at the dice would be a bit awkward.
Yeah. Anyways, I'll just tell the story.
I must prevent you from, as long as possible, from tell the story.
One night,
Options.
there was a child playing with his toys, and one of the toys was a monkey.
Like from a barrel of monkeys? That's usually what we have made several references.
It's a sock
playing with
monkey.
two.
A sock monkey.
He's playing with two toys, and one of the toys is a monkey.
So is he a socket
That
wrench
ended the
monkey?
story. Yep.
Socket monkey wrench. That's what
monkey.
came to my mind.
We're gonna start simple.
It's the
So that's a short, simple story.
I'm surprised the Moon King didn't come into this, but you drew the moon. And Moon King was a previous character that we created.
No.
That hopefully will also, his story should also be posted.
You're not using the tower.
Okay. So one day, the child had a coughing fit. So his dad went to seek out the Holy Grail, not knowing that the Indiana Jones movies were fictional. So that's his loss. And so the father wondered where he was trying to remember the movie and could not remember where they found the Holy Grail.
All right.
Have fun with that, Nick. I swear that tower was working perfectly last time, and now it just
Now I keep breaking off the hammer. I see what the issue
random
is.
hammer that is in the middle
It's perfect.
of the. It is
the
a beautiful
hammer is
thing,
necessary.
but it is vestigial.
It was this, not the other thing. So they take a plane to India, where it is believed that where they believe that the Holy Grail will be, despite the Holy Grail specifically
because Thomas took
referencing,
off with it.
specifically because the father is completely horrible with geography. And he believes that Jews originate from India. And therefore Jewish culture such as...
Are they called Hindus?
Oh my God. Okay. Yes, they are. It's canon. And so...
that's gonna be great.
But on the way, the medallion of on the way, the medallion of self-confidence, which is stored in the luggage compartment, causes an engineer on the plane to believe that he can, in fact, make the plane go faster.
Oh.
And so the engineer crawls out onto the wing and begins to take apart one of the engines.
This is you, Sam.
I wonder how this works.
Yeah, he's re-engineering.
Oh, I lost that bolt.
He's like, it needs more power. Like making adjustments to the engine mid-flight.
So,
perfect.
There we go. The engineer's out on the wing, taking apart.
Can the engineer be Tim Allen? We need more. We need a 90s reference.
Why Tim Allen?
Home Improvement. More power.
Well, why not Will Arnett?
Okay. I'm Batman. That Lego Batman movie was amazing. Okay, go.
I'm done. That's all.
You done? Okay.
I should take those out. I'm sorry.
Okay. So retroactively, that engineers you, Sam. See, there's the hammer.
Just leave it out. Okay.
That hammer is not wanting to stay.
So as the engineer was sitting out in the wing, and what's the guy's name who's traveling?
It's just the father. We haven't named
Just the father.
him. We should name him. Okay, we need a state and a really basic American name.
Oklahoma Steve.
No, I think it should be Minnesota Steve for your benefit.
Minnesota Cuke is already a thing.
Oh, that's
Minnesota's
right.
taken.
No, that was
Oklahoma
that's
Steve.
like 14 years ago now.
It's fine.
Okay.
Oklahoma
Frank
Steve.
the Oklahoman.
Frank, Oklahoma
babe.
Frank.
Frank the Oklahoman.
Okay, which one are we sticking with?
Oklahoma Frank.
Frank's not a common name right now. We need more Franks in our lives.
Okay.
Starting with this one.
So the father, also known as Oklahoma Frank, was flying, and he looked out the window and saw this engineer busily restructuring the engine mid-flight.
What kind of plane are we talking about? That's important because if it's
Boeing, it's one of
it's
four
a bigger
engines.
Boeing. Okay.
It's a big.
So they can still fly, but he's still being a complete idiot.
The medallion of self-confidence really is doing a number on this engineer. It's in the luggage compartment. Important plot element.
Is he just especially especially vulnerable? Like, what about the other people in the plane?
Oh, don't worry. The pilot looks out the window as well, and affected by this medallion as well. He has a bout of self-confidence and thinks that he can totally fly the plane with one engine, which you can definitely do for a bigger plane.
I thought it had 4 engines. So is he gonna?
No, it's one.
It's a 2-engine jet plane. It's
a 4-engine jet plane. The engineer's just gonna do a lot of work today.
It's only 1 engine, right?
Left.
No, there's
the
3
engineer's
engines
already on the 3rd one. Unfortunately, he wasn't a very good engineer. But
hey.
Self-confidence does not equate to skill.
Anyways, Oklahoma Frank looks out the window, and as they're passing,
he's self-christened, right? Like he just decided, like, okay, gotta find the Holy Grail. So now I'm Oklahoma Frank. Is that what happened, or does he have a history?
He's not even from Oklahoma. He's from New York.
Can we say that the reason that he actually went for the Holy Grail is because he ended up with the amulet of self-confidence or something? Or should we just not even bother?
The amulet of self-confidence is entirely...
Didn't his child get sick, and that's why he was going?
That's why.
But why would he go after the Holy Grail? Wouldn't there be easier ways to go? I think he got out of extreme self-confidence.
Okay, sure.
Or no, actually, never mind. He could just be crazy. That works too.
Most of our characters.
He's having a midlife crisis. Pretty sure that's what's happening.
Anyways, so the engineer, as he's taking apart the 3rd engine, realizes that it's his lunch break. And so
drop what you're doing. You're not getting paid on break.
And so he uses duct tape to make sure he doesn't lose any of the parts. And so he duct tapes all the random parts that are to the engine that he took apart from the engine, and duct tapes himself to the wing as he pulls out his lunch pail. And as he's eating, he notices off in the distance there's a rainbow, but this is not any rainbow. There is a floating cloud with the rainbow, and the cloud is stuck to the rainbow. It's not like it's like the rainbow pierces the cloud. It's not like a typical rainbow. It's an interesting rainbow. Anyways, he uses ASL, and the pilot and him are communicating back and forth, and he points out over to this rainbow, and the pilot nods his head and turns the plane. And obviously he bleeds off a bunch of energy, and the plane starts dipping down a little lower. But the pilot's just like, meh, and just maxes out the engine, the last remaining engine, to push him to this...
the plane was supposed to be going faster. This engineer has failed us.
But you said he was a failure of an engineer.
Yeah, I'm just saying the truth. I'm just saying the truth. He's an awful engineer. Actually, no. He's actually brilliant, but he's also kind of thoughtless. Like, he doesn't think things through. He's a movie scientist.
Anyways, as they approach this pierced cloud, they notice that the cloud is not necessarily an actual cloud, but like an actual sky civilization. And in the midst of the sky civilization is what appears to be the Fountain of Youth.
Okay, here we go. So, the engineer he had a very short lunch break. He eats really fast because when you're an engineer, you got stuff to do. You don't get a moment's rest, except for when you do, like a lunch break.
He had his mineral bar that he ate.
Yes.
No vitamins.
And mineral water.
Mineral bar, mineral water.
So he was smart enough to notice that the plane was in serious trouble. So he started working really hard on one of the other engines, because you gotta have at least 2 engines. Otherwise, you're done for. Unfortunately, there was a bird strike on the
The last engine?
The last
No, not that kind of bird strike. I mean, he got hit in the face with a duck.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say that all the birds went on strike and now the world's in a crisis.
There was a bird strike at the time, but it's irrelevant to this plot. But just so you know, there is a bird strike going on.
The bird union
yeah.
wants more rights for birds.
Otherwise, they will strike more engines. They will cripple the industry.
Cripple American aviation.
Yeah, but unfortunately, the engineer was trying to restore one of the remaining engines. Gotta get 2 to keep it up, but he received a bird strike to the face.
Uh-oh.
It's a mallard
Fortunately, he was duct taped to the plane. But
his legs they're still duct taped to
He's still got kind of a concussion, and he's out of it, so no help.
His top half is flapping in the wind.
Sure. Anyway,
He didn't lose an arm, did he?
The duck is hardly winded at all. He just kind of bounces off the engineer's face, continues on his merry way, kind of whistling.
To the duck, this is all just water on a duck's back. It just goes right off.
He just shrugs it off, keeps going. But anyway, the plane went hurtling towards the rainbow with the clouds, and it crashed into the cloud bank, which was a very peculiar kind of cloud. That Are you done?
No.
You're very distracted.
Good.
But yeah, so they crashed into a surprisingly solid cloud bank. There's a certain type of metallic cloud, somehow lighter than air. Actually, it was fixed in position over the Earth using some quantum mechanics stuff. I don't know. I picked up something from BioShock Infinite. But anyway, yeah. So metallic cloud, somehow lighter than air. But yeah. So the plane ground to a screeching halt, and everyone miraculously survived, except for the engineer's dignity. But now that they have come to a stop, yes, no dignity, but still very confident. But now that they had crashed, he was free to work on the engines without having to duct tape himself to the wing.
Which is very important.
Engine, yes. Because he needed duct tape for other reasons.
Yes, definitely.
Now, Oklahoma Sam believes that he is not...
Frank. Unless he changed his name.
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, Sam is the engineer out there.
Now, Oklahoma Frank...
No, that's...
Since the plane has stopped...
I think that the engineer needs a state in his name. Connecticut Sam.
Uncle Sam?
Tusky Sam.
Actually, no, it needs to be Delaware. Delaware needs some attention.
Delaware Sam.
Yes. Delaware needs some attention for once.
Alright, so... Oklahoma Frank believing that he has now arrived in India, home of the Jews.
You mean the Hindus?
No, just
and the Judists.
Proceeds to exit the plane, and walks right out the door on the side of the plane, onto the wing, where the engineer is still knocked out cold. He walks down the wing, and since the end of the wing is touching the ground, he just walks right off. Now, he enters the civilization of the Cloud People, which are, for all intents and purposes, all just actors with cotton balls taped to every part of their body.
It's just their culture, man. Just accept it.
Secretly, these are all just people that identify as cumulonimbus.
Ah, but they're not actually cumulonimbus. They've been Cirrus clouds the whole time. They were just very confused.
This is only one of many sky civilizations. This one is very tolerant to cumulonimbus humanoids. And he proceeds to walk into one of the shops, since there's a row of shops on Main Street. Walks into one of the shops and buys himself not a shop. He walks into a currency exchange and exchanges some of his Oklahoma bills American dollars for
I think
Cloud Cash.
I want to make it a play on Bitcoin or something like that,
No,
or just something
it's Cloud Cash.
something ridiculous.
Cloud Cash. Okay, there's
Also known as Clash.
the main currency for the clouds is Cloud Cash, but these hippies here on this cloud have started Cumulo Cash in order to compete with it in the currency market.
Of course.
He ends up buying Cloud Cash because he doesn't quite. Despite being Oklahoma's Frank, he does not buy into Cumulo Cash, and then he proceeds to take his sack of Cloud Cash and walk up to one of the shops and buy himself a Cloud Burger. Now this Cloud Burger
Low in calories, I take it.
Oh,
It's all fluff.
It doesn't fill him up at all. It's practically empty. He ends up
They're on the 0 calorie diet.
He ends up looking at the sign on it after eating it. He doesn't feel satisfied at all. He looks up like, the heck was this even called? I want to talk to the manager. It's called a steamed ham.
Ah.
Because it's made of steam.
Yeah, but what kind of nonsense is the ham actually made of?
Do you guys? Do I have to explain the reference?
No, you don't. It's actually starting to come to me. Is it not a Simpsons reference?
It is a Simpsons reference.
Yes. That's all I know, though.
Okay.
But that was sufficiently amusing. But what do they actually make their meat from? I take it it's not meat.
Oh,
well, if it's a metallic cloud, they must have some type of materials in the cloud.
They hunt space whales.
There's always space whales.
Oh, yes.
Cloud
space whales. And now, let's see. He proceeds to walk over to the Fountain of Youth, where we have our first musical number.
Nah. I mean, I get it. The musical numbers are funny. We have done a couple of streams where Nick does just a music. I'm glad you held off for so long.
Story cubes.
At least
this
one.
last turn was the only turn I haven't done a musical number in like 4 sessions.
Am I gonna do a musical number right now then?
No, he always does
it.
It's his thing. His Discord name for our the server is music number. It's a beautiful thing, I'll admit.
Oh, we are the sky people, and we will eat all the clouds. We have the Fountain of Youth, which was thought to be in Southern America. And no, it was not.
If anyone should be doing the musical numbers, it's Sam, who's actually like a dedicated.
I'm gonna harmonize with him when
he's got a. Okay,
dedicated.
Let me try this again. And Sam
he's
can
the choir man. He's the choir man.
We're the cloud people, and we're here to stay. We're gonna be up here all stinking day. And we grounded ourselves on this rainbow, and until it goes away, there's nowhere for us to go. Oh, we are the cloud people, and we are here to stay. And we're eating our burgers made of steam all day. Each and every time that the sun rises, we get ourselves a rainbow, and we can't move.
I was just starting to get into the rhythm there.
Well, I lost the rhythm, so I'm not the best at this. I need to warm.
Where do they get their sustenance, though?
They eat the clouds. They're made of clouds.
How much?
They're metal clouds.
The metal clouds.
Called metal clouds.
No.
The metal is a conspiracy.
Wait, hold on. Weren't some of them like just basically humans with like the cotton balls?
That's what they look like.
No. They look totally fake, but they're totally real.
They're basically
they're totally real.
It's like Doctor Who. That looks fake, but somehow it's real.
Exactly.
All right, well, that's what these cloud people are. I guess.
They eat steamed hams.
Yeah, they have for some. Okay, they have some.
They eat steamed hams.
They have some morphine powers. They just choose to look like They choose to look like humans with cotton balls stuck to themselves. They want themselves to They want it to be something we can comprehend.
We are entities of clouds.
You would not understand us. Well, maybe the
we
cloud
have
parts.
taken this form in order for you to comprehend.
We have not reached enlightenment, or at least maybe because we're lighter than air, we have sort of reached enlightenment.
Maybe instead of random shopkeepers, they're actually super intelligent monks.
The Judists, they have been up here the whole time. But not the Hindus. They prefer...
The Judists are up here, the Hindus... Oh. They aren't cumulonimbus. They
are stratus.
No, they're stratus all the way, dude. It's a turf war going on.
They're very protective of their status.
Cumulonimbus always grounds itself on a rainbow, though. Which can only happen during the day, because of the nature of rainbows.
Right.
Well, this is a special story.
Anyway,
it's a photorealistic.
Is it Sam's turn now?
Yes, it is.
The musical number's over.
I had a horrible
been
musical
over for a while
number.
now.
That's probably
That's
one of my worst musical numbers. I'm sorry.
Well, what are you gonna sing about for cloud people?
Sing about them being cloud people.
You
Obviously.
sing about them being
so
full
okay.
of hot air.
So Oklahoma Frank is at. Let's do a recap. Make sure I know what's happening here. Oklahoma Frank is doing the music. Is he the one who's singing at the fountain?
No, it's all the townsfolk walk out of their houses in choreographed.
Okay.
It was just that time of day.
It's the 2 o'clock choreographed dance.
Yes.
None of them want it.
They
all
have
of
a
them need
union
it.
break specifically for I think the town morale.
Okay.
Yeah, you got to get in your morale time every day. They all take it at the same time.
So Engineer Sam, what was his name? Delaware Sam.
Oh, yeah, Delaware Sam. Yeah.
Delaware Sam, from being knocked out, wakes up and realizes that they are in actually a cloud civilization place, and so he, being so fascinated by it all, decides to go exploring. And so as he's going around exploring, he finds an egg. And looking around, no one's looking, no one's paying attention, but there's this egg here. So he picks it up and starts walking along with this egg, wondering what this egg is all about. And then Oklahoma Frank is like, "Oh, hey, what's up, engineer fellow guy? What's your name, by the way?" And so then they exchange a greeting.
Wait,
the engineer in Oklahoma Oklahoma Frank and Delaware Sam.
Okay.
So now they know each other's names instead of the random engineer tore apart the plane. And
I was under the impression they would never interact at all. But
no, I'm a friendly guy. He's a friendly guy. When I'm not around.
So much for subplots. Okay.
Anyways, Oklahoma Frank sees this egg that Sam's carrying. He's like, "What are you carrying? What's in the egg?" And Sam's like, "I don't know what's in the egg. I just randomly found it." And so he's like, "Okay, okay."
I have bells of a twist.
And so
hopefully you don't ruin it.
And then Oklahoma Sam, or Oklahoma Frank. I'm just gonna call him Frank and Sam, because this is confusing.
No. It has to be Oklahoma Frank, but you can just call the engineer Sam if you want.
Okay.
But Oklahoma Frank has to be, yes.
Oklahoma Frank got suspicious of Sam, and so he pulled out his gun and pointed at Sam.
It's a cloud gun that he bought from the cloud gun store.
Okay, it was a cloud gun that he
shoots hot air
with cloud cash. It's essentially a blow dry.
The exchange rate was fantastic that day. He only put in $50, but
and so yeah, he has this highly sophisticated cloud gun, and he points it at Sam. He's like, "I'm gonna blow you to cloud heaven if you don't tell me what's in that egg."
Could be taken a different direction.
That was really good.
You to cloud heaven.
that was great. Okay.
Anyways,
I have a great
Sam
direction.
is just like freaks out, and your turn.
Wait, what did you say that last bit?
Sam freaks out. Delaware Sam freaks out. He has the gun pointed at him,
and he's being told he's going to go to cloud heaven.
All right, I have a fantastic direction to take this. Sam was initially frightened beyond all reason, but then he realized it was just the cloud gun was just a fancy looking hairdryer. It was a very powerful one, but not particularly deadly. Also, something else happened. The whole reason that Oklahoma Frank had pulled the quote-unquote gun on Delaware Sam is he realized what the egg was. It was the holy hand grenade. Isn't that just perfect? Dun. So, knowing, unfortunately, he misremembered the Monty Python Search for the Holy Grail, which they never did get their hands on the Holy Grail.
They saw it floating above the castle.
Never mind.
They did see it floating above the castle.
No, that was just the Holy Grail shaped sign. Remember?
Okay.
Well, anyway, actually, let me back up a little. He takes the holy hand grenade from Sam before he can react, and then he blows hot air in his face, which it was a powerful cloud gun, so it threw him back, a few feet, knocked him over, but that was pretty much it. And
was Sam's judgment a little clouded then?
Sure.
He was sent to cloud heaven.
Which was only a few feet away. It was actually the local salon.
There's a sign there.
Cloud
it's like,
heaven.
welcome.
Actually, the salon and spa.
It's welcome to Cloud Heaven. Today, welcome to Cloud Heaven. How can we serve you today? Would you like your head done, your nails done, or your toes done? We can do all three for the low price of $2.99 Cloud Bucks.
Of course.
Not Cloud Cash. We only accept Cloud Bucks.
Not a third currency.
No, we need 15 currencies by the time this episode's over.
Okay, well, anyway,
we're only up to 3.
So, Oklahoma Frank made some unfortunate assumptions about if the holy hand grenade exists, then that means that there must be somewhere nearby a castle full of really snooty French soldiers who happen to possess the Holy Grail and had this interminable hatred for English cosplayers. Specifically, English people dressed in medieval costume. Also Monty Python fans. They really hate Monty Python fans. But anyway, he goes looking for this hypothetical, maybe real place, assuming it's in Cloud Heaven. In the meantime, the pilot, who I'm going to name Michigan Montgomery.
Man,
you just call him Monty.
I was gonna bring him into the story my next time around.
He got really bored, and he started catching cloud butterflies, which were just a offshoot of moonflies, which were from a previous storyline that we did. But that'll probably be uploaded to the channel after this one, but we shall see.
Will not be confusing at all.
Oh, not at all.
Nope.
But we'll get some sort of continuity going. Actually, it doesn't matter which one takes place first, because we're just referencing moonflies, which could just be
flies from
forever
the moon.
present. Oh yeah, they're butterflies, but they're from the moon. But anyway, yeah, it's not the it takes place in the same universe, and that's all that really matters. The timing doesn't matter so much.
Just get my own thing to twiddle.
Yes. Get something to mess with.
Nick and I are fighting over.
Do you realize how loud this can get?
Oh, easily.
I don't know how much of this rattling around with the pieces, how loud that was. Oh, do we want to take a quick break?
We could. Oh, but I just rolled, and I've got some ideas.
Okay. after you, then it's back to Sam. And after the break,
if we take a break mid-story, we're gonna have to do a recap for our own sake.
No, we'll wait like 5 minutes, do a bathroom break or something. Can we cut this part out?
No.
No, okay, we'll just let it roll. You viewers must understand our habits.
We have the best habits.
Yes.
All right.
We are upstanding human beings. Decent ones.
Oklahoma Montgomery.
No, it's Michigan Montgomery. And we're just calling him
Michigan Montgomery the pilot.
We have 3 named characters. Do you realize this?
And all of them
Only 3.
So Michigan Montgomery, after
call him Monty. The only one that really matters is Oklahoma Frank.
So Monty and his pet python.
Yes, of course.
Monty and his pet python.
Also named Monty.
Monty.
But that's Minnesota Monty. That's the python.
No, it's Montana Monty.
Okay.
It's Montmont.
Sure.
Montmont.
Yeah. All right, go.
So Montana Monty and Monty Montgomery Matsumi.
Just call him
Matsumi.
Monty.
I think
Monty.
Matsumi's an anime thing, isn't it? Anyway, they finish catching their butterflies and they notice the inverse pyramid of drowsiness,
What?
which is off in the distance, behind glass in the museum of the inverse pyramid of drowsiness, which happens to be right next to the Cloud Hotel. Much less interesting name there, but the Cloud Hotel is, in fact, the only cloud in Cloud Town. Also less interesting.
What about the metal cloud everyone's standing on?
That's where Cloud Town is.
Oh.
Cloud Town, which has shops, the Fountain of Youth at its center, and for some reason, stone pathways everywhere. Not cloud, just stones. Now,
Lighter than air stone.
now,
sitting on metal.
Team
Oh.
Monty starts walking
Lighter
over
than
to
metal
the
clouds.
museum of the inverse pyramid of drowsiness because this seems rather interesting. They walk in and pay the low fee of $2.99 to enter the museum.
Cloud bucks or
Which-
cloud cash?
Or something new.
They accept both currencies.
Oh. All inclusive.
They are all inclusive. And
We're going to introduce Cloud Coin at some point, right?
no.
No? Okay. No, they just have ordinary Bitcoin. They're not that out of touch with
So
other
after
places.
approaching the inverse pyramid of drowsiness, the Team Monty hears a voice. It appears to be emanating from the inverse pyramid of drowsiness, and the voice goes about like this. Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep, dear Monty.
How
Go
does
to
he know the
sleep.
name?
Go to sleep. It's time for you to sleep.
Surprisingly, the inverse pyramid of drowsiness is not as boring as you may think.
And the
But
inverse
sleeping
pyramid.
is for a very different reason.
Monty ends up starting to fall asleep, believe it or not. He ends up leaning over, falling a little bit, and bumping into the inverse pyramid of drowsiness, upsetting its delicate balance and dropping it to the floor. The pyramid...
How big is it?
Oh, the inverse pyramid, it's a full-size pyramid.
So we just knocked
Like
it
a
over
pyramid
full
of Giza.
No, inverse pyramid.
No, it's like 3 feet tall. It's not that.
Oh.
It's on top of the pedestal.
Okay.
It's basically a megaphone or something like that. Anyway, so the inverse pyramid of drowsiness falls over and very dustily shatters on the floor. The voice stops, and the museum curator is startled out of his slumber. Gets up,
Security's not very good. In
gets
the
up,
inverse
runs over,
pyramid.
and
Wait,
cuffs Monty.
is the museum also an inverse pyramid?
No, it's a normal museum. What do you take me for?
But I wanted you to get recursive.
Oh. So the museum curator comes over. He happens to be the museum guard as well. Times are tight, and he cuffs Monty and Monty's snake. And so the cloud cuffs they're not effective at all. Obviously, he just floats right through them. And so, seeing that his curious cloud cuffs have decoupled, the museum curator proceeds to shout for help, and the police arrive, all white and white lights flaring.
Needs
Instead
more
of red
lens
and blue.
glare.
There's never mind.
I missed it. What?
Instead of red and blue lights, it's white and white lights, because everything's white.
Oh. I think you can get away with a little bit of blue, but
Okay.
also yellow because light.
And they
Can't be
can't.
more white.
They proceed to try everything they have on Monty. Everything from an additional set of cloud cuffs to
Yeah, they just kept
tear
trying
gas,
cloud cuffs on him. It'll work eventually, guys.
They try tear gas. They try everything. They end up trying to shoot him with their cloud bullets, which obviously don't do anything. to a non-cloud entity. And frustrated, they end up just asking nicely, and Monty comes with them to the prison.
Not the snake, though.
No, the snake just slithers away. He's bored and goes and tries to eat cloud mice and is very disappointed.
It's even worse than the steam ham.
So Monty is now in prison, and Monty the snake is...
But he can leave when he wants, right? I imagine he can
walk through the walls. Of course he can walk through the walls. Anyway, that's that. The pyramid is dead. Long live the square.
Okay. Oh, I just had a brilliant idea. Hopefully you guys don't say anything that prevents me from going with my idea, but we'll see.
Sam.
All right.
Your turn.
So, should we take a quick break?
No.
You sure? All right.
No.
So I say we do a one and done story if possible. We got.
Sure, let's start.
20 or
Let's
so
start
minutes.
wrapping up these plot lines. Obviously, Monty
We need to bring the
Montgomery.
plot lines together.
Together.
Yeah, we need to be building towards something. So what's happening is Oklahoma Frank is trying to find the French castle that holds the Holy Grail, which might actually exist. We'll see. Also, of course, the engineer is still passed out. But I just
being shot.
I just had a brilliant idea that hopefully will come into play later.
Okay, so is it actually my turn, or are we?
It is
It is
actually.
your turn.
Okay, it is actually my turn.
But I have a hilarious idea to explain why
Okay.
they're able to be in this cloud town to begin with.
I expect it to be truly hilarious. You're building up quite a bit to it.
Yes. It will make a weird sort of sense.
Okay. Wait, I gotta recap everything in my head now. You just said it, but you just kind of like.
Okay,
So there's
Oklahoma
Oklahoma Frank
knocked
is
out.
looking
He
for.
blew over the engineer,
Mhm.
and then he escaped. He's looking for the French castle from Monty Python, Search for the Holy Grail,
Mhm.
to find the Holy Grail from the really rude French soldiers. Monty is currently in jail, while Snake Monty is, I don't know what he's doing.
He's failing to catch cloud mice.
Sam the engineer was blown over by Oklahoma Frank, but he just kind of gets up real quickly. But Oklahoma Frank has already run away.
Okay, so Monty the Snake. So Monty the Snake is crying because he can't get any of these rats or cloud rats.
He's gonna make it rain.
Cloud mice. And so as he's crying, the moisture of his tears soaks up into the clouds, and the clouds start changing color. Anyways, on the other side of the clouds, the Oklahoma Frank is looking around, pointing his finger towards different buildings and trying to size up the building to see if it looks like a French castle. And he eventually runs across a group of really tall cloud people, and the cloud people are looking down at him, really confused and everything. And Oklahoma Frank is trying to talk to them and ask them where the French castle is, and they are very confused.
Why are they confused?
Because they don't understand him.
Oh no. Language barrier. Yeah.
This has never been an issue before.
Okay, here we go. So, let's see. Sam, Oklahoma. No. Was it Connecticut's? Delaware Sam. There we go. It took me a moment. Anyway, Delaware Sam got up from his little incident, and he, to his shock, he started to slowly sink into the clouds. So he got scared. But a cloud person came along and helped him up, because for whatever reason this cloud person had the ability to kind of solidify himself to pull him up. And he was wondering, how you do that? She's like, I will show you. It is the path to enlightenment. Turned out it was a Judist.
Oh no.
They have the Holy Grail in the
No.
French castle. Anyways.
I feel like I feel like we're being a bit dangerous with these combined religions. Anyway, it's basically a Buddhist knockoff for cloud people, and he leads them to Sam to a temple, and they enter, and they sit on these cloud pillows, and do the meditation pose. Yes.
I'm concentrating.
Anyway, so Sam asks him, "What is the path to enlightenment?"
What is the path to enlightenment?
And
What is the path to enlightenment?
what is the path to enlightenment?
What is the path to enlightenment?
There's a lot of echoes in this building. But anyway,
I must know the path to enlightenment.
he began to sink through the clouds again.
Uh-oh.
And the cloud person told him,
You
must understand, child, that the ability to walk on clouds is not inherent to your kind. It requires the power of belief, specifically from a particular amulet, with the ability to give absurd amount of self-confidence. So the idea is the amulet, through giving them self-confidence, like if they think that they can walk on the clouds, they can let them walk on the clouds. And that's the whole reason they've been able to walk on the clouds this whole time.
Up to this point.
Yes. The amulet of self-confidence.
So they are actors covered in cotton balls this whole time.
No.
No?
No. See,
Okay.
the reason the humans can walk on the clouds is because of the amulet of
he
self-confidence.
got too far away from the amulet of self-confidence.
Yes. Yeah, it turns out that luckily Oklahoma Frank, as well as the two Monties, they could still be on the clouds because they were close enough to the plane. But
they don't have enough confidence to have handcuffs hooked up to them.
Whatever. But eventually, the human Monty, the pilot, got bored and decided that he didn't want to be in prison anymore. So he left, and years later they have yet to catch him. But yeah, he just went back to his plane, got hang out, and the cloud people couldn't really do anything about it. Not the enlightened ones. The enlightened ones were capable of, grabbing people. They could, they're corporeal. They could, poke and touch and lift and that sort of thing.
They could lift, bro.
Yeah.
They totally lift, bro.
But they
totally left, bruh.
They were not interested in
law.
In Monty's troubles with the law. So they just kind of left him alone. The police were not enlightened, so they did not have solid forms or anything like that.
Sounds about right.
Also, in the meantime, Monty had he had found the French castle at last. And well, frankly, it's kind of amazing that there is one up on the clouds, but I think it was due to his self-confidence. He believed there'd be a French castle in the clouds, so there was.
Somehow.
And that's just how it works. Oh, and the snake Monty got bored also and went back to the plane where he began to work on the engines because of self-confidence.
The snake?
Yes.
Snake is
it was very slow work, but for being a snake, he did a pretty good job.
How does he hold the nail and use the hammer?
With sheer determination.
With the power of determination.
And also the power of love. That was tangentially related. That's the power of love.
The power of love. It's the power! And so, Oklahoma Sam, or Oklahoma Steve, Oklahoma Frank. Oklahoma Frank, upon arriving at the French castle, proceeds to bust in the doors, look around, sees no French infantrymen, and assumes, aha! They're scared. And so he begins to run around the castle looking for French infantrymen so that he can exchange some verbatim with them and then go find himself a Holy Grail. He doesn't find any French infantrymen, curiously, but what he does find is some paper and a pen. So he picks up the paper and pen and draws himself from French infantrymen, has himself quite the conversation with himself.
Lovely.
It goes between Oklahoma speaking and then the drawing kind of shaking when he's speaking for it, and it's like it goes about like this. Hello there. Do you think you have a Holy Grail up hereabouts in the French castle? And the Frenchman goes, "No, we only have baguette."
Let's see. Oklahoma Frank was not very enlightened.
Shall we say?
Yes. He had some previous experiences with the French.
We only have baguette.
Yes.
And so he has this conversation with himself and gets frustrated with himself and begins to stomp further around the castle. Finds a Dixie cup dispenser. Pulls out one of the cups, believes it to be the Holy Grail because of his self-confidence. He's so confident that he'd find it that the first cup he found was the Holy Grail to him.
Whoa. What did the cup look like?
It's a Dixie cup from a dispenser in the bathroom.
Oh.
Not the bathroom,
Is he
sorry,
surprised?
the water cooler.
Is he surprised that there's more than one Holy Grail?
No. He only takes one and doesn't look back.
Never look back.
Never look back.
Oh, is he? Because he's that confident that it's the real
He's
Holy
so
Grail.
confident, dude. And then
I don't even think it's the amulet at this point. I think it's just Oklahoma Frank. He's just like that.
And so Oklahoma Frank takes the Dixie cup and begins to exit the castle. But on the way out, stumbles upon an actual French infantryman.
Whoa.
They're coming back from their mandatory break. Their mandatory union break.
We've taken a bunch of... I'm not even sure I consider them stabs. It's just kind of poking a little bit of fun at unions.
But Oklahoma Frank then is kind of scared because he thinks, oh no, he knows. And runs back into the castle, but takes a wrong turn and finds himself lost in the castle.
Oh no!
Where he stumbles upon an actual relic called the Amulet of Self-Doubt.
Oh no! Unfortunately, his self-confidence was such that he just kind of shrugs the effects off.
Let us find out.
Okay.
How this turns out.
Does that count as dead air? I mean, there's sound, but it's just...
We're rolling
Well,
dice.
I'm rolling dice here.
I rolled an...
I'm trying to figure out what I need to do with
I
these
rolled
dice.
an eye.
So, Oklahoma Frank, this amulet of self-doubt, he's intrigued by it because it's kind of shiny and fancy looking, and so his self-confidence gets the better of him, and he goes over and he picks it up, and which was a grave mistake because the second he picked it up, it was like the effects were tripled, and he lost all strength in his body, and instantly he started sinking into the cloud ground.
Oh, he was weaker than I thought. It's too bad.
Well, I mean, he touched it.
Oh. No one touched the amulet of self-confidence. Who would know what happened then if he touched the amulet of self-confidence?
Especially with Oklahoma Franks. Anyways.
Oklahoma Frank is quite the confident man.
And so he starts sinking into the clouds, and right when he's halfway, he's about He's about chest level into the clouds. It's like acting like quicksand, and these French people come around the corner and see him, and they're like, "You touched the amulet," and he's like, "Oh no,
You touched baguette."
Oh, I just realized for my turn, I don't think I used any of my dice at all. I just went on without it. Whatever.
Tisk, tisk, tisk.
Tisk,
You didn't have the Tony one.
tisk.
You didn't have the Tony one.
No, I said it anyway.
Anyways.
I no need dice.
Hayden has destroyed the veil.
Dun, dun, dun.
That's the only time I've done that.
And so Oklahoma Frank is halfway buried in his cloud, and the French are charging in on him. And he's kind of worried. He's like, is this where I'm about to die?
Is this the end?
Dot. Meanwhile, on the other
dot,
side
dot.
of this cloud country place, Engineer Sam guy, Delaware Sam, he works his way to the airplane, and this time, he's been enlightened, and so the amulet's effects, he can choose to ignore them or at will, or accept them at will. And so he actually gets to the airplane and realizes that all 3 engines are taken apart and all the pieces are duct taped to the wings. So he realized that this is a grave mistake that he is sure that he did. So he gets the instruction book out, the owner's manual for the airplane, and starts doing some serious repairs and fixes these engines actually
so how's
pretty
the
quickly.
snake doing? Is the snake?
Oh, he has the snake help him. Like the snake acts as a helping hand kind of thing. So the snake will hold a part in place while he welds the part together and stuff. You know, it's a very helpful snake.
It's a python. It's got a grip.
Yeah, it can hold things together.
Team Monty for the win.
Yeah.
And Monty the pilot sits there in the pilot's chair and plays checkers with the co-pilot. So
there's a co-pilot?
Oh yeah, every plane has a
There's
co-pilot.
been a co-pilot
What's his
this whole
name?
time.
The co-pilot? The co-pilot's name, her name.
Colorado Cody.
No, it's a girl.
Colorado Cody.
It's
Cody
a last
A.
name. Cody's a last name.
I thought, okay.
No, her name.
Colorado
her name will be,
Colorado Caroline.
That should be North
Wait, wait, wait,
Carolina.
wait.
Carolina,
North
Caroline.
Carolina, Coraline.
Or
Coraline. North Carolina, Coraline.
Carolyn? North Carolina, Carolyn. Or
Okay.
Carolina.
We're never gonna mention the name again. Well,
Just
maybe.
Carolina, Caroline.
Why?
She's Carrie. We'll call her Carrie. But
Carrie
she's
too.
North Carolina, Carolyn. Just so the audience knows. But she's
North
we'll just call her
Carolina,
Carrie to
Karen.
be safe.
Karen.
Anyways,
yeah. North
so
Carolina.
yeah, so Montgomery the pilot is playing with this Carrie girl, checkers. So, yeah, and so that's happening there, and
Well, we
I
gotta
will.
know who's winning.
Well, I'm not gonna delve into
Who's
those details
winning?
just yet. It's Hayden's turn now
We need to
Okay.
know.
because right now we have this issue with Oklahoma Frank sinking into the sand,
Alright.
or not sand, but anyways, take it away, Hayden.
Okay. So I believe that Oklahoma Frank is still sinking into the clouds. But he was finally smart enough to drop the was it still an amulet?
Yes.
Of
it's-
self-doubt?
It's an amulet of self-doubt.
He dropped the amulet of self-doubt and immediately shot into the ceiling because he's so latently confident that it's just like you just can't keep him down.
This is one man who believes in himself.
For better or for mostly worse. Yeah, so he realized that the key to defeating self-doubt was to let go of the amulet. That was the lesson he learned that day.
He also learned that French people cannot be trusted.
So, yeah, he wasn't very. He was. We said he was confident. We didn't say he was very smart. So he decided that in order to defeat the French, he would need a weapon. So he seized the Grail of Lightning and used it to strike down the innocent French people that were in the castle.
They're cosplayers.
Yeah. Oh, that's right.
They're French cosplayers who hate British cosplayers because they're from the wrong anime. Or something.
No, that's just what Frank believes. Frank isn't too bright.
Okay.
They were French. They were cosplaying as French medieval folk. French soldiers in a French castle in the clouds, because it turns out that cloud people have a special affection for the medieval period, especially in France, for some reason. Anyway, so in the meantime, the engineer has managed to fix all of the engines with the help of the snake, and they get in the plane and what were the pilots playing?
Checkers.
Yes. So they decide. So Monty and Sam wanted to join Monty and Carrie, so they immediately began inventing the concept of 4-man checkers. Yeah, they were still in the process of it when Oklahoma Frank came charging down the path with so what happened? It was self-confidence. They're like, impossible. How could you make 4-man checkers? But self-confidence imbued them with that we can make this. We can make this work.
It's possible to make 4.
So Oklahoma Frank comes charging down the path, holding the what was the? I forget what was the
Grail of Lightning or something like that.
No, that was mine. But you came up
The Grail
with
of Self-Doubt?
Or
Or
the
that was an amulet. What was the thing you found before that first cup you picked up?
A Dixie cup.
Dixie.
There's nothing special about
he
it.
came
It's
running
a
down.
Dixie cup.
He came running down the path with the Dixie cup, and got on a plane, and they took off. Despite the fact that the landing gear was completely mangled, but they thought, "Oh, that's not important. We'll worry about that when we have to
Sam
land."
the engineer can fix that on the airplane.
Sam didn't know because they were wedged underneath the body, the fuselage.
Well, that's a terrible engineer.
Yeah. Anyway, so they took off, leaving Cloud Town behind, and they flew home, and they landed at the airport, but the landing gear was mangled, so it was a controlled crash. But they, because of their extreme self-confidence, they made it, and the Oklahoma Frank's son was waiting. The child from before. We never bothered with the gender, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I was waiting at the airport and within range of the amulet of self-confidence. So, Oklahoma Frank offered the Dixie cup, which was then full of heavily treated tap water. I feel like that's important. Youth. Yes, that's what it was. It was tap water all along. And because of the power of confidence, the will, the belief that the Grail would work, the child was instantly cured of whatever illness it had. It turned out that they had the cup of illness in the house the whole time, and they did not know. But luckily, it got thrown out in the trash, and that probably had something to do with his healing. But anyway, you want to do an epilogue?
I'm going to do an epilogue.
Oh boy!
Having been cured of all ailments, young Wesley Washington Wesley, proceeded to become...
My preference is Washington Wallace.
It proceeded to become the oldest man in the world. At age 100, he started to be kind of picked up because he didn't look like he was aging much at that point. He looked like he had slowed to a crawl. He looked 40. He didn't look bad.
Ah. Nice.
By age 120, he had passed up all the previous oldest people in history.
At least recorded.
In recorded history. And at 140, he began to take an interest in politics. Obviously, by this point, all other characters have died.
Except the Python, for some reason.
Except Python.
Wait, who has...
Monty Python.
Sam's still alive, too, because he's been enlightened.
Sam is
that's right.
Sam made a religion out of this.
Oh, no.
And so he begins to take an interest in politics, and over the next 40 years develops his political career, and at age 200 becomes the oldest man to ever become United States president. He then gets citizenship in several other nations, takes turns becoming the leader of each of those nations respectively, massively improving their infrastructure with his knowledge.
Hold on.
Gets several, and
I want to add
he's
something
going
though.
to rule the world, Hayden.
Okay, I know. But I think that because of Frigg's extreme self-confidence, what happened was he died, but he ascended to another plane of existence.
He was so confident that his version of heaven would exist.
Cloud heaven, yes.
And so, after many years, Wesley takes over the world. Not in a violent way or anything. He is just so dang smart and old that everyone trusts him.
And confident.
And he's like the grandpa of the world, and it works out just fine for him because he looks 40 for some reason. And so, as the leader of the world...
Isn't 45 like how old you have to be president? I forget. No, 35. It's 35. But no one's ever come close to that.
There's no cap. Otherwise...
No, it's supposed to be 35 or older, but the closest, like 42 or something.
Yeah.
Barack Obama or something. No, he was the second youngest. JFK was like 40.
Yeah. And so Washington Wesley is in charge of the world indefinitely until health complications is what it is on paper. But there is no health complication.
He started having troubles with the psychic powers he developed around 300.
The various psychic powers that he developed around age 300 make him aware of the origins of his unique age. And
really,
taking a bit of a gamble, he decides to take his personal flying car up to the clouds to see if he can find this sky island. No one believes him, obviously, because there was no documentation of the event.
Those pilots
and engineers, so irresponsible.
No one trusts a guy with a pet python or an enlightened person.
And so, upon reaching the cloud, it is revealed that the cloud is no longer what it once was. It's now a rain cloud. I don't know what the term is.
Oh, because the snake was crying and it changed the color.
Oh yeah, It's
that
been
python.
Eternally raining this whole time. The fountain of youth has gone dry. The population has withered into nothing but little bits of dust floating around. They're still alive. They're just, instead of cloud people, they're now dust people.
Whoa.
The ozone has failed.
Unfortunately, the python didn't find the dust bunnies very delicious.
And
just like the cloud. Nice.
And so, Washington Wesley thinks to himself, this will never do, and incorporates their island, their sky island, into his international dominion. Yes.
Yes, he calls it Cloud of No Nation.
And so they receive governmental funding, and small-time loans for their businesses.
Yes. Microfinance!
And through microfinances and government aid programs, he helps their ailing cloud recover.
Also a flourishing film industry.
And they start to plant the first cloud trees that the island has had in years. And Washington Wesley's great-great-great-grandson is there for a visit for the final scene, and where we see for the first time in a very long time a mandated lunch break for all the workers.
Of course.
We
always come back to the lunch break. Oh man.
And so they begin their song, and the credits roll.
Okay, I have to say, this was really fun.
I don't know what my last turn was.
Okay, so this is really fun, but I don't think I didn't have any characters that I wanted to seize upon that I wanted to see more of. It's like
Washington
this was their
Wesley
story.
is the ancient
Okay, no, he becomes the octopus at the end of the universe.
and
one of our
time
other
travels.
Yeah.
He time travels to become the octopus at the end of the universe. Yes.
Sure, something like
It's
that.
perfect.
We'll figure that stuff out. But yeah, that was. I think we could get away with pretty much no editing at all.
Sure, why not? Let's even leave this in.
What do you think about?
Just
What do you
slap
think
an
about it,
intro.
audience?
Slap an intro on it and
We
upload
don't
it.
even have the live audience with us right now, which is too
Well,
bad.
no, I'm
He'll have to
referring
listen
to
to it.
the people who are going to listen to
Leave
this.
us. Remember to.
I know. I thought of
In
live
traditional
audiences.
YouTube fashion, remember to like, comment, and subscribe,
The subscribe button is usually red.
and ring that bell.
Ring a ding ding. From now on, we will be reminding you every 15 minutes to like, comment, and subscribe.
We'll set ourselves a timer.
Yes.
Oh, my timer's up.
There'll
Remember
be
to like, subscribe, and follow us.
Oh, by the way, this is
Please,
Nick. That's Sam. I'm Hayden. Like, comment, and subscribe. Oh, this is Sam and Nick. Right.
We
Yeah.
should,
We got it.
We should create a
To my left is
character.
Hayden.
Yes.
To my right's Nick. I think my
Like,
name
comment,
is Sam.
and subscribe.
I figured out a name for the octopus at the end of the universe.
Really?
His
You
name-
sure you shouldn't
His
just
name
be...
is like, comment, subscribe.
Oh, we are monsters.
No.
We are post.
Man is the true monster.
We are not monsters. We are men, and men are. That's the only part of the speech I've got. Okay.
Okay.
Anyways.
Anyway,
We are post-relevance.
so we should just
disorder.
yes.
We have been post-relevance
Actually,
disorder,
Sam is a guest
and now let's.
Well, yeah, I'm not technically
of
part
multiple
of it.
times.
I'm just.
He is part of the family.
And now we're going to create outro bits, and you'll hear one of them right now, maybe. Anyway,
Probably not.
Bits.
Good
Bits,
night.
Yes, no, yes.
Portland.